I can't imagine myself in future more bold or more receded hairline.
2019 के बाद से जो मेरे फ्रंट साइड के जो स्केयर थे वो पूरा कवर हो गए हैं.
मुझे गंजापन पसंद नहीं है, इसलिए हेयर ट्रांसप्लांट कराना.
What is this obsession with the hair that we see in men and women?
Actually, hair is a part of the art. That customized piece of art that is created by God, our face. No two faces on earth are similar, and there is a framing to our whole face by the positioning of the hairline and everything. And we all, since ancient times, it has gone to our genes now. When you look at somebody, you look at his or her hair, where the positioning is, the styling of hair, the length of the hair. That is part of the beauty quotient.
If somebody has good dense hair and a proper hairline, that will give a framing to their face. Okay, so a proper hairline gives a frame on the top, and especially the temporal points, they give a side framing to the face. So somebody is trying to talk to a large group of people, or influencing people, or maybe putting his point forward through a video, or maybe through a live show also. If you want to talk to people and want them to focus on your face and your emotions, then I would say the hairline bordering is important. Okay.
So nowadays the people are obsessed towards having good hairs. Otherwise also, if you see any head full of hairs and a decent, natural, good looking hairline, is something like a gateway to your personality. So there's nothing wrong in being obsessive towards the hairs, because it's a part of our grooming and our personality.
The reasons could be many. The need to look a certain way, not bald at 30. Medical reasons, an accident that could have led the hairline damage, the desire to fit in, and not wanting to look beyond your age. Social media that constantly puts pressure on us on how to look a certain way, and also factors like pollution, environmental changes, unhealthy lifestyles that is fueling India's hair crisis. This is what is driving the market of hair restoration that is growing exponentially. A significant portion of customers of hair transplant services are in the age group of 25 to 45. This market is growing at a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 25 to 30% in select metros and tier 1 cities like Mumbai, Delhi NCR, Chennai, Hyderabad and Bengaluru. The number of companies venturing into the industry has augmented significantly with the increase in consumer demand. In Delhi's neighboring Gurugram, we meet the founders of Eugenics, the company that provides hair restoration services and boasts of a huge celebrity and non-celebrity clientele.
What is this entire craze of getting your hair back?
Doctors explain why there is a
not
huge
able to
demand
be
for
bald.
safe and reliable procedures, and that demand is only surging.
What is social media, Instagram got to do with this thing about looking a certain way? What is the contribution of social media nowadays, according to you, when you look at the growing number of younger people coming to you to look a certain way?
So I would say the social media is absolutely transforming our society in a very different manner. Okay, the teenagers, all those young children, teenagers are exposed to a new world now. Okay, and so this has and it is having an economic impact also. They are choosing not to become professionals, but they are choosing to become influencers. They are choosing to become content creators, and usually people are taking it up as a side hustle also, some people. So that's why this social media, somebody is becoming a participant of this new generation. Okay, where this is their career, their bread and butter, and this is a way for existing businesses also to pitch in and do advertising, okay, and to create the awareness.
My question to you was about preemptive surgeries. Do you see a trend in this?
Yes, Sneha, this trend is because of a lot of awareness, and which is good. In the very, the first part is good that people are aware, they know that there is a treatment available, and they can potentially avoid a proper baldness later on. However, if the research is not done in the right way, then they might end up in a procedure room, because when you are young, then your maturity is not that much to take a right decision. So you might be very impulsive. Right. You might end up in a just neighborhood clinic which is not equipped, or you might just be very price sensitive.
Yes, we get such patients a lot, and I don't promote that preempt hair transplant. Okay, I don't think that hair transplant is a preventive surgery. Okay, this thing should be very clear in everybody's mind, doctors as well as patients, that it is not a prevention for baldness. Okay, it's a cure for baldness. So if person comes with a diffuse reduction in volume or little bit of thinning here and there, then they should not opt for transplant. They should opt for treatments, which is mostly medicines and lotions that we prescribe as dermatologists, which can restore your hair in those areas.
One such young patient, barely 25 years of age, anticipating a receding hairline, has come to this clinic to seek a restorative procedure.
With this kind of less hair, my friends asked me, one time my friend asked me to remove from group pictures, because I was, he find me bald, and he just told me ganja and picture se nikal ja, like that kind of bald.
Modern life has a huge role in making men and women lose their hair faster. Stress, diet and even hair treatments are among the possible reasons younger generations are noticing hair loss at an earlier age. Millennials are losing their hair earlier, men and women both. Genetics play a crucial role in the onset of hair loss, but to assume you're destined for baldness because your parents lost the hair with age is actually a fallacy. Androgenetic alopecia, AGA, also called male pattern baldness, can manifest at any point after puberty and escalate over years or even decades. In men, hormonal imbalances can occur on a spectrum, ranging from minor to significant. Such shifts can arise from various factors such as age, environment, lifestyle, emotional distress, and underlying medical conditions. Interestingly, hair loss can stem from either inadequate testosterone levels or excess estrogen. However, accidents and traumas have led to victims losing their hair, like in the case of Priya.
सर्चिंग के दौरान मुझे ना डॉक्टर से यानी मुलाकात हुई, उनके ऑनलाइन जो वीडियोस रहते हैं, मैंने सब वीडियो सर्चिंग की है। उस दौरान मुझे काफ़ी कुछ पता चला कि एक इम्पॉसिबल चीज़ भी हो सकती है। तो मैंने ना सर्चिंग के दौरान फिर मैंने देखा कि एक बर्न स्केयर है मेरा, और वो तो नॉर्मल हेयर तो कोई भी यानी कर लेता है, बट मेरा बर्न स्केयर था तो इम्पॉसिबल मुझे लग रहा था। 2019 के बाद से जो मेरे फ्रंट साइड के जो बर्न स्केयर थे वो पूरा कवर हो गए हैं।
What about those who aren't ready for the procedure or don't need it? And what are the risks involved? It is not just men. Modern rapunzels are dead too. Excessive hairstyling, consumption of certain medications are leading to hormonal imbalances that contribute to hair loss. The Indian hair transplant market, valued at approximately $180 million in 2021, is poised for substantial growth and is expected to reach around $560 million by the year 2030. While Turkey continues to be the hair transplant capital of the world, India is emerging as a preferred option, with it even being ranked among the top 10 countries in the world for the same.
I also want to ask you the risks involved, because there would be risk, like with any other medical procedure, any other medicine that you take, there would be risks involved. What are those risks?
So if you do a hair transplant procedure with a qualified team, the doctor is qualified, the nurses are there, and they have been doing only this, and they know their screening systems, that they know that scalp is normal, scalp does not have any kind of issue upon which the procedure should not be done. Then they know how to screen somebody with the blood pressure, ECG, diabetes, everything. So as I said, there is two pillars. One is a qualified team, expert team, they do it regularly, versus unqualified and they just try to wash their hands. So in qualified team, the chances of side effect or any kind of thing is close to zero, and if at all, they are very, very imaginable or within the range of expectations. Like let's say the numbness lasts for 10-15 days. Maybe the numbness in my head would last for 1 week, in your hand would last for 15 days.
So the center where we are opting to do the hair transplant procedure should be adequately equipped with all the safety measures. Okay, they should have all the resuscitation equipments. They should be doing the proper pre-op testing. Somebody has uncontrolled high blood pressure or uncontrolled high sugars and they go for a surgery, then it's a big no. If somebody has a heart block or a heart fibrillation, okay, some heart disorder is there, and your cardiac output is compromised, in those cases also you should not opt for the surgery. You are not physically fit enough to go for the procedure.
So the risk associated with hair transplant are not as such, when till the time the patient is under good and experienced hands, but still there is a possibility of some risk which can be immediate and which can be delayed. So the immediate risk which usually happens can be because of anesthesia at the time of giving anesthesia, where there could be possibility of having pain, and there is a possibility of having some amount of bleeding which can be managed intelligently by the surgeon. And the delayed complications or delayed risk can be associated with the surgery post-transplant, like there could be possibility of having some folliculitis or the infections. Other than that, till the patient is under safe hands, there are no much risk associated with hair transplant.
We met Ryan, a 38-year-old American who chose India as the country where he would get his hair transplant done, a procedure that he had been planning for years together.
So Ryan, tell us a little about what made you come to India and choose India as this destination for your hair transplant.
Well, I was originally skeptical to come to India. I've obviously never been here, and it's a difficult decision to fly across the world. It was a 16-hour flight. But I had spoken to a few Americans who had come here, and they had very good things to say about it. So I did quite a bit of research. I talked to the team at Eugenics for considerable time, many months, and their professionalism really showed through when I was talking to them. And when I arrived, I can tell you that everything that they said would happen is exactly what did happen. The team is extremely organized. Everyone does their job in lockstep, which is very different than if you go to other countries, such as Turkey, for example, for hair transplants. Things are a little more disjointed. Things are a little less professional, so to speak. Whereas here, I can tell you the experience I've had is almost identical to the experience you would have in the United States. So that's the primary reason I came here.
So there is great potential for India to become a hub of these kind of cosmetic surgeries?
Yeah, I would say it's already becoming one. I would say that's already on its way. It's not something that's in the distant future. It's probably right at your doorstep, because I know that I am not the only one who had considered doing this. I know personally half a dozen other people who are looking into eugenics or other places in India to come. So yeah, I would say it's here.
Also, I want to ask you, what made you take this step? How did you make up your mind about doing this procedure and why? Also, how old are you?
Sure. So I'm in my late 30s, well, a little past mid-30s, and I can tell you that in the United States at least, when you're in business, the way you look is extremely important. So when your hair starts to recede, when you start to look a little older, there is a very thin dividing line between distinguished older and just not quite as good older, so to speak. But so in the United States, you want to look your best for as long as you can. And this procedure really helps you look your best. I can tell you that I took a picture of myself after they started the procedure yesterday, and I sent it to a few of my colleagues back home, and they said, wow, you have a hairline for the first time in 10 years that we've known you. It looks so good. It really makes a difference in the business world.
Is that in the US, what would this procedure cost you? Because I think cost is the biggest factor that draws medical tourists like you to India.
I have quotes. So one was $40,000. Another one was, well, to be honest, it would have been over $100,000, but that was a little absurd. But I would say the average is somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
And this is what, half in India? Like half of it?
Less than half, and the quality is just as good.
But there is a dark side too to this soaring demand. Surgeries often go wrong, prompting patients like Asaduddin to go in for corrective procedures.
When I was 24, I decided to get a hair transplant done, and that's how, like, in Delhi I got it done from one of these clinics, like, which I didn't research much, and they really spoiled my hairline the way they put my hair. It was all over, and I think after that, like, once my hairline went so bad, then I had to like apply like Topic and all the other things to like hide all the wrong, like the bad part, like the hairline and all, like to do that. So yeah, so after that, like after a few years, my dad was like going to get a hair transplant done, and that's how he made Dr. Pradeep and Dr. Harika at Eugenics clinic in Delhi, in Gurgaon actually. And that's when, like me and my dad got it done, and I think since then, like the results were great.
ईसाई शाइनिंग दाट मजबूत से बाल लंबे बनाने का प्रोडक्ट होता है। देखिए ये एक बोतल लगाने से आपको बाल बढ़ेगा।
Deaths of young men while undergoing transplants and mushrooming of hair transplant clinics has given transplants bad press. The National Medical Council has issued guidelines for the same, warning that watching videos on YouTube or other platforms is not adequate for training to perform aesthetic procedures like hair transplantation. Hair transplants must be performed only by qualified persons. But who is listening?
And it might take 6 months or 12 months, and you will find something. Patient forums, and go to different clinics also, meet doctors who do the procedure themselves, not go to any dummy. There are a lot of dummy clinics and who don't have doctors. It is not only in India, it is in everywhere in the whole world, whether it is UK, whether it is Turkey, whether it is USA, everywhere. Scientific doctors, they face problems from these unregulated clinics where they don't have doctors. It is, there is a salon who is doing a hair transplant. As I said, all over the world, salons are doing hair transplant, and doctors who are not qualified to do it, they are also trying their hands there. So in that way, and some places they do a lot of things.
There could be a possibility of having some accidents during hair transplant, but till the time the infrastructure is good, it's a world-class infrastructure, you have all the safety precautions in your hand, the possibility of having accidents during or even after the surgeries are very less. Although they are reported in the world, but at a good center, none of them.
It's a grade 1 surgery, I would say. It's an office-based hair transplant procedure, is an office-based surgery. It doesn't require admission, hospitalization, or a long 1 week long recovery period which requires in-person admission. So that way it is very convenient to start a practice. We don't need to have a ward or admission of the patients. But that can motivate some of the unauthorized people to start off the cosmetic surgeries these days. For example, even more superficial than hair transplant is the procedure of Botox, fillers and laser hair removal. So these days salons are also starting to offer these procedures without having any medical personnel employed with them. Okay, so that is the area where I think the regulation needs to pitch in.
Hair transplants were India's most popular form of cosmetic surgery as of January 2021, with over 30,000 results per month. Most hair transplant surgeons estimate that between 0% and 25%, roughly 6% on an average, of their cases involve fixing a botched up hair transplant performed in the black market, according to the 2022 International Society of Hair Restoration census. The country's cosmetic surgery industry has experienced a remarkable surge. Approximately 8 to 10 million cosmetic procedures are performed in India annually, with 10% of patients being foreigners. India offers cosmetic procedures at prices that are 30 to 50% less expensive than those in wealthy nations. Aesthetic medicine undoubtedly is the sector to watch out for.